I finally made some time. Finally home and relaxed. I'm going to tell you about this here Arkbird wireless head tracker thing. Alright? And how I'm going to use it with this radio link transmitter. It's the RC4GS, as it states right there, yeah. And then how I connect it with the Crossfire light transmitter, and how it's all wired up all nice and neatly like this. This is my TV. This is my crack. This is my sitting at the bar. I don't do that stuff. This is what I do. So I also have, and I'm going to post this, the wiring diagram to make this all work with one 3S battery, and that 3S battery should be a little bit smaller because
I'm cool like that, I'm going to provide you with a couple other wiring diagrams here at the beginning of the video. Some are from the manual, and I have already provided you the hand-drawn version.
Imagine if you could.
And I hope this helps. Here you go.
You could do that. I mean, you have the batteries, right? You could use that as the base of your transmitter. You could do that. But we're not going to do that. We have on order petite batteries, smaller batteries. Petite, like a tiny woman. We have a 3S version of these battery packs coming, so that it's not so meaty. You don't need that much. I mean, anyway. So I'm going to show you in this video what I've done, and I'm going to cut in some photos as I was walking along and soldering and trying to figure things out, watching other YouTube videos and trying to make sense of them, piecing it all together, and then taking my electronics knowledge and making it all work. I hope this helps somebody, because there are more guys out there like me that enjoy this hobby. Maybe they don't do over-the-road trucking, which is basically what my life is. I'm gone for months at a time. So when I come home, this is how I like to relax. But if you spend all your time trying to piece things together, then you're not out there enjoying the hobby, enjoying what you've worked on for the last 3 or 4 days at your home. And then all of a sudden the phone rings and you have to disappear, and there you are going back to work again. That's my life. So I'm going to show you how to get this Arkbird headless tracker system, wireless head tracker connected to the Crossfire light transmitter and get it working on my goggles. So what the ultimate project is for this is that we're going to have it working on one of my RC cars, probably my giant Audi that's up on the shelf. And then the next time I come home, I should have my large, well, it's not large, I think it's a 40 size, but it's been hanging there for a minute. I just have to get it back in shape. It's been sitting for a couple years, so I'm quite certain that the hinges need to be redone because hinge glue dries out. So when you receive the Crossfire system, it comes in this nice little box. It's a box like any other box, and you open up the nice little box, and then there comes a bunch of wires. Just not this bunch of wires. Those are extra, but I keep them aside. So you get something like this. This is the thing, and then you get this other adapter, and that's a thing for another thing. And then you get this little thing, and there's all these things. All right. See, it goes from the left, black, red, white. And that's how it goes into the TBS Crossfire. All right, I just saved you a lot of aggravation. The next thing we need to worry about is how do we get this to talk to, what do we have? We have a TBS Crossfire Nano. This is 6 channels, all right? We're using, I believe it's 1 to turn, 2 to burn, something like that, right? And then on this side, just for setting up, let me see how we have this. What we have, we're using ESC to power up the receiver here. Just any old battery. Use an ESC, you know, an engine controller, and it puts out 6 volts, as I'll show you in this video. So you can adjust it, but we don't use this ESC for anything other than setting up. I have that going into channel 2 because it's 1 to turn, 2 to burn, right? Channel 3 and 4 are open. 5 and 6 are the ones that we are using for the Headtracker servos to set up. These are big, dumb, overpowered ones for right now. I'll have my Headtracker unit in a couple days.
Sadly, this is an untrue statement, and the Headtracker fixture didn't arrive from China before I had to go to work. So that'll happen in March. Stay tuned.
As I understand it right now, I don't know if it's every time you have to do it, but when we put it on the goggles, of course, it's going to be double-sided taped or Velcroed on there. You have to press and hold.
One of the things I like about this design is that this here relay, this here accelerometer that you put on your goggles has its own battery in it. You don't have to wire into your goggles. You just recharge this off of a USB cable and you're good to go. No extra wires, just tape it onto your goggles and go.
The way I understand it is every time you want to use this, you have to recalibrate it. I might be wrong. I don't know. I know I'm correct about the wiring. I might be wrong about the setup. What you do is you take your little power switch. It's right there. You see it? It's so cute. And then you slide it on. You see the little lights. All right. You got your lights coming on. There, blinky, blinky, blinky. And then you have to take this little switch. It's right there. See the little switch right there? It's a button, actually. It's not a switch. You have to take, and it's already calibrated, but see the lights? When it does that, I believe it's calibrated and you can release. In other videos, they say it's this or that, but they're using airplane transmitters, and I'm using this RC car transmitter. So what we have is, we're just setting up right now, okay? We're just using the source channel for the pan is channel 7. The pan destination is channel 5. Tilt source is channel 8. The tilt destination is channel 6. Here is the sensor that goes on to your glasses, your goggles. This is the piece that goes onto your goggles right here. So you'll see if I move it up and down, it moves that servo. If I move it left and right, it moves the other servo. So you'll see that work when I have the pan and tilt mechanism delivered in a couple days. All right, here we go. You can see in this photo that I had the old battery, the old 2S battery with an XT30 connector set up, and that was how I was powering the TBS Crossfire transmitter. However, with this wiring diagram that I've provided, you will not have to use 2 different batteries. Everything's going to be powered through the Headtracker input. Here you can see that I was proving the voltage input theory. It's just a temporary soldering job, as I was making sure that everything was indeed going to be powered through the Headtracker input of the TBS Crossfire. And I accomplished that by wiring in a temporary 9-volt battery clip, and it worked. You just can't run this situation for long term on a 9-volt battery. And these are all the components before they were all wired up together into one harness with shrink wrap tubing
and installed on the radio transmitter. It's pretty simple actually, but if you haven't done it before, it's kind of intimidating. Hopefully I've helped somebody with that. In this next group of photos, you'll see how I took the squirrel's nest of wiring as I was working out the voltage and how I wanted to wire it and how I wanted it to finish and then terminate into a battery and what plug I was going to use and if I wanted to put a switch in it or not. Well, I didn't. I took it from this mess and I made it into a nice group where I individually shrink wrapped all of the connections, and then I used a piece of larger shrink wrap tubing to bind that all together, and I decided against putting an inline switch into this situation. When I plugged the battery in, everything for the Headtracker and the TBS Crossfire transmitter, they're all going to be powered up as soon as they're plugged in. That's good enough for me. I didn't want to go too crazy. I have it terminated into an XT30 battery connector, and unfortunately I have to wait for the Chinese people to send me the camera mount and for my batteries to arrive. How did I decide on what battery to use? The minimum voltage for the TBS Crossfire transmitter is 3.5 volts. The minimum voltage for the Headtracker is 8 volts. So that excludes using a 2S battery, which is 7.4. The maximum voltage is 13 volts for the TBS Crossfire and 20 volts for the Headtracker. A 3S battery is 10 point whatever and fits right in the middle. So a 3S battery is what I have decided on to run both the receiver for the Headtracker and the TBS Crossfire transmitter. And that concludes part 1 of the Arkbird setup, at least in my world. Thank you for stopping by Rock and Roll RC, and I hope you like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.